You are listening to the Two and Out CFL podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Grab some poutine and a double-double. It's time for the Two and Out CFL podcast.
He's got it! Oh, baby!
Every week, Travis Currah.
That's Grey Cup me, which is a different person.
And Brazilian Ty.
Hunters are people too.
Talk fantasy football, bring you the latest in CFL news, and sprinkle in a little bit of nonsense.
Oh, nearly intercepted, and it's over!
Ready, set, hunt!
And we are part of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported. It is Travis Currah and Brazilian Ty. It's the earliest I've done anything in weeks, and couple that with the time change, and here I am recording with your candy ass.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is a family show. This is not the Attitude Era.
Hopefully this gets me through, man.
The
cup
golf,
of cream
golf
and
started
sugar
at like
I got.
6 a.m. The NASCAR race starts at 12:30. The Brier Finals on tonight. We have a limited amount of time where we can fit this in.
Man, look, I know this is a platform of about 3 people, but why are we wasting our time with playing with the clocks thing?
Oh, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Maybe it's my point of view is the latitude that we live at. Like June, does it need to be sunny in Alberta at 11 p.m.?
No, because I go to bed at 9:30. You just make my life hell.
I think Ty would like sunlight to be from about 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
No. I could deal with 5 a.m. because earlier tea times, and then as long as it's dark, if it's dark at 4:30, I do not care. Shorter work days. Jays games in the summer start at 4 o'clock out here, 5 o'clock at home. Oiler games start at 7, but Hockey in Canada starts and it's dark out. I don't have to leave the house. Perfect.
There we are, disgruntled daylight saving time.
Yeah. I like how you didn't add the S. Very well done.
This episode is brought
You speak it good.
Brought to you by Taploot. Oh, wow, I jinxed myself. Taploot Spotlight. This episode of Two and Out brought to you by Taproot Spotlight, a service that helps businesses and organizations pay attention to the people they serve, and Taproot tells you the news about the people and companies that are important to you. You can use that information internally to keep everyone on the same page, or share it with the world in your newsletter, on your website, and on your social media channels. Paying attention pays dividends. Find out more at taprootpublishing.ca/spotlight. It's taprootpublishing.ca/spotlight. Got to start the show with a big loss to the football world over the weekend, but 95 years old, an absolute legend, Bud Grant, has passed away, led the Bombers to 4 Grey Cups, led the Vikings to 4 Super Bowl appearances,
0 wins,
11 division titles, just an absolute legend in the football world. And he's got the big statue outside of IG Field in Winnipeg, but one of those living legend characters that is now gone. Ty?
and one of the most, I wouldn't say recognizable, but when that name comes up, I guess, recognizable would be the word. Like when that name comes up, everybody that's a fan of this league, of a certain vintage, and even our generation, who that is. And I think that, him and being in Minnesota, that probably helps get the profile a little higher for sure.
18 seasons with the Vikings, so
right. And I mean, the hapless fight. The Vikings can't do anything right. They actually did that right, but 18 years with Bud Grant.
Yeah.
But it's just, 95 years. It's not like we're looking at this as a taken too soon thing. You had a hell of a life, hell of a career. And that I think that this year in Winnipeg, especially, would probably be celebrated more than mourned.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's other big news happening in the CFL this week. It seems like every time we come to record in the offseason, something happens. So I thank the Canadian Football League for making that happen.
Does that make us the flagship? Like they look at our schedule, like we got to do something on this Friday because they're recording Sunday.
We got to get some news out there.
Yeah. Maybe if you could do it in English though, that'd be friggin' great.
The Alouettes have a new owner, Pierre Pelado. That's what we are going with here. He is reportedly worth $1.9 billion. Now, here's the
Canadian or US.
Hey, that's a good point. This is actually quite fascinating. He is big with Quebecor, the big telecommunications company in Quebec, which is really interesting on one hand because they kind of compete with Bell Media, and that's going to create another I'm sure, great dynamic in the room with the Board of Governors.
Oh man,
when that deal, I think the TV deal is up in 2025. But the first local Alouettes owner I'm seeing here since the team was founded in the 40s. That is the
original Alouettes.
Yes. Yes. So I think this is a massive thing to have ownership in Montreal for that team.
Well, and it gives you that sense of stability. It's not like it's a group like when True North bought the Thrashers, we all knew it was over in Atlanta. Everybody knew it was over. Stuff like that. When Basile was trying to get an NHL team, knew if he was going to buy one, he was going to try to move it. He comes in, buys the Als. It feels like, he's got the money. He's got the want to keep the team there and possibly looking at stadium options to get out of McGill and stuff like that. Like it's just trying to build from the ground up kind of and trying to make it so it's a super stable franchise again and start winning football games. And then we don't have to worry about the league having to take over again. Now, granted, that's the Spiegel thing was nobody saw that coming. How that all went down, it's super, but this is just a step in the complete right direction.
And I think the way that he's taking it over, not tied to Quebecor, is big as well. I think that's nice. I know they're in the midst of. I think they're going to take over Shaw Mobile. There's all sorts of crap going on that really doesn't need to happen here.
There's like 3 companies in Canada, so eventually it's all just. They're all going to have their own little pieces of each other. It's like General Electric owning NBC.
It's just shuffling assets.
Shuffling deck chairs on the Titanic.
But we see what's going on in Hamilton and BC with local owners there. And I think that goes a long way. The passion in Winnipeg and Saskatchewan and Edmonton with ownership there being, community owned. I think that goes a long way there to passionate people in their community just loving something that they own, so keeping it in the community.
But are you saying MLSE doesn't love the Argos?
Well, they seem to pay attention when they win titles
for a week,
3 months. Yeah. Maybe I was a bit generous there. But it was brought up at the press conference from the media. Are we going to keep playing at Percival Molson? What's going on here? It clearly seems to be the factor that's holding Montreal back from hosting Grey Cups. It's been since 2008, and
that was at the O.
In a city that like Montreal, when we're coming up on over 15 years, and 2024 is going to be in Vancouver, this year Hamilton, and the report 2025 in Winnipeg, they can't even run a shuttle system, and they're getting the Grey Cup back.
Well, you can only fit 3 people on a horse and buggy.
They don't even have an airport.
And how are we going to get there? That drive last time from Thunder Bay was ridiculous. It was not worth it. I don't know why we didn't just drive from Lloyd.
Sorry, Winnipeg. But
no, we're not.
Hey, well, with
I'm not.
The championship teams they put on the field and the championship level facility they have, no matter if it's going to be minus 35 or not, they're going to be getting a Grey Cup. Well,
if Neely doesn't take me to a Burger King that's closed, I don't hate Winnipeg nearly as much.
So Montreal's waiting. By then, 17 years since they've hosted a Grey Cup, so they got to
The
figure
Big
out
O
something
won't
there.
even have a roof by this point.
Yeah, I know. Just take it off. That's got to be the cheapest solution, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you go inside and there's more problems, I'm sure.
yeah, probably. I'll be visiting the Big O in August. So,
I might be.
Hey, nice. Brazilian Ty celebrating his 35th birthday.
By myself on Crescent Street. I might not make it home.
Just the way you'd like it, man.
Yeah, no people.
So we'll see what's gonna happen here. He does appear to have connections with the soccer team in Montreal. So maybe they'll come up with a joint facility, which I think would be kind of funny if they could work it out, and then Toronto is still kind of whatever's going on there. I don't think the whining is as big as like it was a few years ago. Maybe it's because TFC's not as good as they were a few years ago.
That's 100% what it is.
Yeah, that probably, yeah, exactly what it is. Mario Cecchini is back as the president for a little bit, but he's now the commissioner of the QMJHL. So that's starting in May. So they need the new president in Montreal.
I mean, I could score 60 goals in the queue.
There's a lot of interesting stuff to follow. He looks like he knows he's going to have to open up the checkbook, and it's going to take a while to get things rolling in Montreal, or get them to where they used to be in Montreal. And he looks like he's ready for that fight. He's seen the success in university football in Quebec. I don't see a reason why professional university football.
Right. Thank you.
If there's no reason they shouldn't be able to translate that over to the pros. Bring up
kind of like a grassroots kind of like, yeah, like you can't do feeder systems because of the draft. Like you can't just have, you can't treat it as a farm team, but you can generate talent and have kids go to Montreal or Laval. Scouting can't be that hard in Canada, because I mean the games are easy to get to. It's easier to scout university football here than it is in the States, I would think.
Yeah.
Just with the number of teams and divisions, it's ridiculous down there. But if you can get homegrown talent and kids that want to stay, or that want to come and play for the Alouettes and stay there long term, and maybe take a little bit less, it's one way you can build a winner.
Now, this is quite interesting. We're talking about the stadium in Montreal. Now, I guess there are some other ownership storylines to follow. Things are pretty quiet right now, but there was some rumblings in Calgary after this past season, what was going to go on there. And there's also whatever's happening in Toronto. I think sometimes they forget that they own a team, so we'll see how long that
Jay's season starts in 2 weeks. Like nobody in Toronto is going to care until.
Yeah, so then MLSE will forget that they have a CFL team. So that's,
and once the Leafs are out in the first round.
So that's probably good. Oh, and I would love if it was against Boston too. I guess that won't happen in the first round, but yeah,
Tampa.
Whoever it is, do the job.
Now, you have one job.
The stadium situation here. Interesting note coming out of Halifax now. So it looks like Touchdown Atlantic, of course, going to be at St. Mary's University. They're going to convert that stadium, the Huskies, where they play, into a temporary pop-up venue to host Touchdown Atlantic. CFL executives met with them recently, exploring the concept of keeping that. They're calling it a long-term pop-up, which is kind of a oxymoron, I think.
It's like my kindergarten class that was in a portable that never left.
Yeah, the portables that
never moved.
Yeah, so
they weren't exactly portable.
Not very portable to me,
yeah.
But they're exploring the concept of keeping this venue intact long term for possible future home of a full-time CFL team. So let's see what happens here. Now, I've kind of thought about this recently. I think Western CFL fans we're probably a little bit spoiled when it comes to the venues where we get to watch, other than the one in Calgary, where we get to watch football. Like we've got IG Field and Mosaic Stadium, even Commonwealth and BC Place, just, I mean, great facilities to watch football. And then I was thinking, you know what, the ones in the East, no offense to our friends in the East, are just more basic facilities. Like I had a Grey Cup at BMO and I had one at Tim Hortons Field, and hey, they're great places to watch games. They are, but it's not Mosaic Stadium.
It's the same with McMahon. It's like great sightlines and everything, but
yeah,
everything else about that place sucks.
Yeah. So maybe they're going to make this work in Halifax with the long-term pop-up solution. And then is it a build it and then they will come sort of thing here? I think this is what Randy wants his legacy to be.
Yeah.
Cohan was able to, finalize the deal, get these new stadiums, and get Ottawa back in.
All while being dressed to the nines.
Yeah. I wish I had that fashion sense.
I don't know if it's sense or if he has somebody who does it for him, more or less.
Yeah, I need somebody to dress me. And then maybe Randy just wants this Schooners thing to happen, and I do too.
At some point, though, we're beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yes, the pop-up stadium is great, but with everything that's happened in the last 3 years,
I know,
it's just not feasible right now. And I don't see Randy being in this spot long enough for it to happen under his tenure. Because it seems like the tide is turning. Like when Randy first came in, everybody loved him because it was such a stark contrast to Jeffrey Orridge. But now we're so far into this, it's the same crap. There's no actual answers. It's all lawyer speak. It's all quiet on the Western Front when it comes to some stuff, where he won't even talk about it, never gets brought up, and people are just getting tired of that too. So how the Board of Governors feels, I don't know, because he has led.
They might like him, yep.
Yeah, through the COVID pandemic and everything, and we didn't lose any franchises. Yes, lost money for sure in that 2020 year, but came back, was able to get a full schedule back, relatively quick. We had one short season, but so maybe the Board of Governors like that money wise and where the league is at. But I mean, aside of the fans, like, I don't think, getting the Schooners would be great, and I think people on the East Coast would love it, but I don't know how much that saves them with the fans. And it would have to stick.
At least this offseason, we're not talking about 4 downs yet. So,
I mean, it's early.
It is early.
It's not even Masters week yet, man. There's lots of time left.
Back to the Montreal Alouettes, where they've announced their coaching and football operations staff for the 2023 season. Tyrell Sutton back in Montreal as the running backs coach. And man, we're feeling old, where we had this podcast for most of his CFL career, and now he's coaching. I love to watch this guy run. So if the Alouettes can have guys running like Tyrell Sutton, they are in good shape. But maybe we are old. Jason Moss, Anthony Calvillo, Luc Brodeur-Jourdain, Tyrell Sutton, all coaches in Montreal.
I mean, I don't want to talk about it.
Hey, your mustache is now entering like its teenage years. So,
what is it, like a dog?
Ty's mustache lives in dog years.
Yeah, but it's getting shaved off next Sunday. So
next Sunday, why? What's the occasion?
I'll be home.
Oh, is that what you do? You restart it every time?
Usually.
Okay.
Because I work outside, and I don't have to work outside when I'm home, so I can shave. So I got a really bad neck crap going on right now. So I'm just going to start itchy? Off oh, the worst. And it gets stuck in my Under Armour, and it just rubs. Oh, terrible.
We did it is Women's History Month. International Women's Day was on Wednesday. There's really cool stories about women across the CFL. Allison Sobel is the manager of football operations with the Montreal Alouettes. And then also in Ottawa, the Red Blacks hiring Nadia Ducour as the offensive quality control coach. It seems like the CFL really leaders on this front, I think. Well, maybe that's my bias coming out on the professional sporting front. It's really awesome to see lots of women working in the front office and on teams as well, and being a part of the football operations. It's so awesome to see in the CFL.
Right. And I mean, huge step, when it comes to diversity, equality, and all that kind of stuff. And Brian Dable, the head coach for the Giants, last week said, I don't care what, like, if you're male, female, black, white, Asian, whatever. If you're the best candidate for the job, then you should be the one that's hired.
Absolutely.
And there's no reason to not do that. Now, in professional sports, you get they've never played at this level.
I know.
Which, I mean, there is an argument to be made. It can't be the whole argument. It's a small part for sure. But if they're around the game, why can't they learn as much as somebody who has played? Like, yeah, it's a little different way to do it, but there's no reason you can't.
Well, let's face it,
if they're not given the chance, I mean, how do you expect them to even try?
There's a lot of coaches of every sport that never played at the high level either. So
yeah,
they got there somehow.
Yeah,
it doesn't
Don
matter.
Cherry, Cherry, one game in the NHL.
Yeah, exactly. Those who, well, Now, speaking of coaching, Henry Burris no longer coaching with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, he was the club's offensive control coach, which, by the way, can I say that some of these positions are kind of getting a little bit out of hand, but
I mean, the NFL has a license to print money.
Yeah, he was with the Jags last year. Now he's looking to move up as a quarterbacks coach somewhere in the league. He has had some interviews throughout the NFL, but it'll be fun to see what Smilin' Hank is up to this year. Either way, I think he's got things to fall back up in Canada if he wants to come back and make a run. I loved him on the panel. I love all sorts of stuff with Henry.
There is a team right now that just had to change quarterbacks that could probably use the help getting turned around. The fan base would greatly appreciate it. Maybe it could be like a redemption story for him.
Yeah.
Not going to name names.
47 years old. I think he's probably still got some.
I was not going there. I wasn't going to say he'd come start.
On the field stuff, the Toronto Argonauts making some interesting signings over the past couple of weeks. They've signed the quarterback Cameron Dukes, a name which I think people have heard in football circles. I mean, when you're born in Kentucky, you're probably born playing football at about 2 months old.
Or basketball.
Yeah.
Every time I hear Dukes, though, all I can think of is semi-pro. Oh. The guy at halftime.
Yeah. They also bring in David Ungerer III, who has spent the last several seasons with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He is 27 years old. I didn't think he got into the games as much as he maybe should have in Hamilton, so we'll see if he can make it happen in Toronto. But I found this signing extremely interesting, Ty. Dontrell Inman is back in Toronto. He's 34 years old now. He spent 7 seasons in the National Football League. He has almost 2,500 career yards in the NFL, 13 touchdowns. But he was with Toronto when they won the 100th Grey Cup at home. Wow. We'll see if he's...
That was a name I had totally forgot about.
I had to do a double take when I saw that he was coming back to Toronto.
That feels like Ryan Smith signing back in Edmonton.
Yeah. After what team did he play for?
The Islanders.
Was it Stony Plain?
Oh, the Stony Plain Eagles when he got absolutely destroyed in front of the net and deserved it. Don't watch your pass. Don't cut across the middle, you muck.
Stony Plain Eagles. Yeah. Back to the Oilers. Yeah, that would be fun. But no, Don Inman is coming back, and we'll see what he makes happen this year. And on other wide receiver news, Darrell Walker is going to green and white. The former Edmonton Elk, the former Toronto Argo, did play with Trevor Harris in Edmonton. Didn't have maybe the success that he thought he would have in Edmonton, but
nobody really had the success they thought they would have the last couple of years.
Yeah. Early in his career in Edmonton, playing with Mr. Michael Riley was when Walker really came onto the scene. 2015
injury.
In 12 games, he had over 1,100 yards, and then he does the full 18 games in 2016, has almost 1,600 yards. So he was an absolute monster.
I believe that was our last year of Fantasy.
Oh, and you owned him?
I picked him up as soon as, who was it, Bowman that got hurt?
Oh, maybe.
And I'm like, well, screw you guys. Nobody's touching any free agents, and I got him, and it took me all the way to the final.
Yeah, he was an absolute monster in those early years. He last had a 1,000-yard season in 2019 with the Argos. He had 874 yards in 16 games last year. So, I mean, I thought at times struggled a little bit, but he doesn't turn 32 until June. He's played with Trevor Harris before. There's some upside in this signing for the Riders.
The wide receiver core in Saskatchewan is quietly improving from what they started with when the season ended. And with Trevor Harris back there, like you said, like a little bit of success that he's had with Darrell Walker, success he's had with Winicky, like that's going to be huge for that team and those guys, and they're going to be able to put up numbers.
Yep.
And he gets rid of the ball so quick that helps out his receivers as well.
Yeah, for sure. This episode of 2 and Out is brought to you by Edmonton Public Schools.
Get ready to take the guesswork out of choosing a school. Go to Edmonton Public Schools Open House. Meet the staff and ask your questions to learn about their schools and programs. Explore your options and find the school that feels right. Find event dates and learn how to make the most out of your visit at openhouse.epsb.ca. Know before you go and feel confident and excited when you get there.
Now, we are in combine season. At the beginning of March, the Invitational Combine did happen. Now, 12 players from that are going to be sent to the National CFL Combine, March 22nd to the 26th in Edmonton. And then the CFL Draft coming up May 2nd. So what would a 2 and Out combine look like? I feel like if we are ever in the same place for any amount of time during the month of March, we need to design a 2 and Out combine. What would
well, I know one of them's going to be drinking beer.
It would be pretty boring to watch, like for an entire night, or would it? I don't know. The 2 and Out combine. What events should be in there? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're listening on Twitter, you can head to the website 2andout.ca and click mailbag and send us an email and join Michael Walker, who every once in a while still sends us emails. Our number one listener, other than Brazilian Ty's mom, who seems to go on a binge. She'll listen to like 40 episodes in 2 weeks and then catch up.
Well, she does housework and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But she listens to my actual radio show, so I appreciate that.
Her and I Am a Wild Marty.
Oh, we have too much fun on the radio, and we have too much fun on 2 and Out. We'll be back in a couple weeks. You can rate, review, and subscribe to the show on your favorite podcatcher and on YouTube as well. Brazilian Ty, what's up?
I'd say keep your stick on the ice, but we both know how you fare. on the ice. So
I'm missing my
best,
knee.
I think it's best if you just stay off of it.
My knee is still. It's like my high school colors, purple and gold, maybe a little bit of green
RPDM,
in there.
baby.
Yeah, it's the ice with the slight dusting of snow on top. That is my kryptonite.
Yeah, that's a kryptonite for one of our assistants too. He's had a week off because he slipped on the ice on one of the 2 sick days he took after payday. So I mean, cool.
He must
It's
have
been
been
really
really
fun.
sick, eh?
Oh yeah, super sick. It's been really fun because my assistant went with another guy, so I've been working alone all week.
Wow.
I've had to get out of the truck,
So you're having a great week.
and I don't even have my Starlink yet, so I don't have any phones. Oh, it's been awful.
Hey, we'll talk to you in a couple weeks. Hopefully we'll both be in a better mood. So take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, we were in great moods today.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.